Long ago, before kingdoms set land boundaries against individuals, the people of Oreomi woke up one morning to the arrival of a young man named Ede, who arrived with only the clothes on his back and a small leather bag. Some said he was a Tapa man from Nupe land, and others whispered he was a Fon man from Daomi, or an Oyo man from Oyo. Despite the doubts that lingered about him, the Oreomi people were good to Ede. Pa-Osungbemi, a yam farmer, took him in and taught him all the ways of their land. Together they planted under the golden sun, and Osungbemi always gave Ede a fair share of his harvest. When it was time for him to take a wife, Oreomi people were afraid to give their daughter to a man with no lineage, no roots or family. But Osungbemi had come to view Ede as his son, so he did not hesitate to marry out his daughter Adunni to Ede. When Ede and Adunni went to inform the Baale of their marriage, Ede, who had never been to the palace, was shocked to see the king's palace was merely a bigger version of any ordinary house. After persuading the Baale to let him construct a worthy palace, Ede dusted his old bag and brought out his tools. With some youths under his lead, they built a magnificent palace of stone, glass and hardened mold. It was so magnificent that people trooped in from neighboring villages to see the edifice constructed in Oreomi. It was even believed to rival the Oyo Palace. Ede lived a happy and peaceful life with Adunni, who bore him two beautiful daughters. In recognition of his contributions to the community, and under the persuasion of Pa-Osungbemi, the king of Oreomi bestowed upon Ede a great honor. He presented him with a stone, instructing him to cast it as far as he could and claim the land within its reach. With a mighty throw, Ede, a stone mason, marked the boundaries of his territory, his land stretching as far as the eye could see. As time passed, Ede became known as the master builder of Oreomi. People came from afar begging him to craft stone gods and houses that would stand for generations to come, and rewarded him handsomely for his craft. However, as Ede's success grew, he became discontented with his wife Adunni because he blamed her for their inability to produce a son. He was overcome with worry that his lineage would not continue and that other men would inherit his vast fortunes through marriage to his daughters. His displeasure became evident in his poor treatment of Adunni, who could no longer do anything to please him. When he announced his plans to take a second wife, this time everyone was offering him their daughter. He married Bewaji, the daughter of the chief blacksmith, because her mother had borne her father 7 sons. Bewaji did not disappoint him. She gave him 3 sons in quick succession. She used her sons to insert herself as Ede's main wife and disregarded Adunni. Despite her bad behavior and Adunni's lack of resistance, she still did not feel secure. Eventually, she used her knowledge of herbs to prepare a potion for her 3rd son. This caused him to fall ill. Then she cried to everybody that Adunni had poisoned her son due to jealousy. Ede and everybody sided with Bewaji and accused Adunni of witchcraft. Baba Osungbemi, though old and feeble, quietly told Ede he could return his daughter to him rather than condemn her for witchcraft. Adunni left Ede's house with her children, but Ede did not care. They had no value to him. Besides, by this time, Bewaji, who was currently pregnant, had given him 4 sons already. As the years stretched on, Ede's ambition knew no bound. One day, as he was walking through the village, Ede's eyes fell on a vast unclaimed mass of land. It was lush and attractive, and inconveniently outside the portion given to him by the king. He desired to add this to his domain. When Ede approached the king for the land, he was told he could not have it because it was the pathway of Olokun, the ocean god. Once or twice within a century, when rivers in the region were drying, Olokun, as a great mighty river, would pass through the expanse of land for weeks, and as he passed, he would leave pockets of fresh water that would last till his return. Discontented with the king's response, Ede stirred the hearts of the chiefs with hefty bribes to persuade the king, successfully disguising his personal ambition as a selfless quest to develop Oreomi land. Even though some elders swore they had seen Olokun pass by in their childhood, Ede ignored all their warnings. The king told him to do as he pleased and suffered the resulting consequences on his own. Immediately, Ede began work, constructing for himself a towering edifice of gold, stone, and marble that overshadowed even the palace. Ede and his family made this their primary base, and for another 2 decades, they were fully established in their new land, farming, marrying wives, and building new houses. As Ede's fortunes soared, the villagers felt foolish for listening to old unverified tales and missing out on such fertile and strategically located land. They wished they had spotted this opportunity before Ede. One night, 60-year-old Ede was resting in the comfort of his palatial home when he dreamt he was floating. He woke up but realized this was not a dream. Olokun had returned. Strong, mighty currents swept through his little fiefdom, ravaging all his decades of hard work. The mighty current swept away everything in their path: people, crops, animals, and houses. For weeks, Olokun passed through, successfully tearing apart the stones that formed the mighty structures that lay in its ancient path. Ede managed to escape with one of his sons, but his other sons, together with their families and nearly all his workers, were swept away with the currents. When Olokun left, there was no trace that Ede had ever been there. As the villagers mourned the loss of their relatives who lived with Ede and those whose daughter had married his sons, they turned to Ede with accusing eyes, holding him responsible for the devastation that had befallen them. And in their grief and anger, they banished Ede from their land. His wife Bewaji, who also survived this tragedy, refused to go with him and insisted on returning to her father's house. Unfortunately, Ede's only living son, to escape the burden of Ede's blame, had taken on his maternal grandfather's name and refused to leave Oreomi with him, claiming he needed to secure the old base, lawfully given to his father by the king. Now old and alone, Ede left Oreomi and wandered the wilderness, haunted by the ghost of his past and the weight of his regrets. He tried to find his first wife Adunni, but he heard she lived a quiet and peaceful life with her new husband and had gone to visit one of her prosperous trader daughters to take care of her grandson in another village. It is said that to this day children still find bits and pieces of burnished stone and gold that once formed the mighty parts of Ede's stronghold.